Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a quiz with question groups. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new quiz and go straight to questions so I can demonstrate this part to you. So you'll see when you go to questions, you have this option for new question group opposed to new question. So what is a question group? Basically, if you wanted your students to all take a quiz with the exact same 10 questions in the exact same order, you would just add those 10 questions using the new question button, and then every student would get an identical quiz. If that's not what you want to do, what you're going to do is create question groups. And what groups allow you to do is it allows you to add more questions than you want to actually give students, and then have Canvas pull from that group so that everybody's quiz is a little bit different. It also allows you to randomize your quiz questions if you still want all students to take the same 10 questions. You can create a question group with those 10 questions, and Canvas will then randomize the order of those 10 questions in each student's quiz. So let's click New Question Group, and right away you see that it asks you how many questions you want Canvas to give each student from this group. And it asks you how many points those questions are going to be worth. So let's say that, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm doing a quiz about some elementary math facts so that we're all on the same page about the process and it's not about the content. So what I suggest is having a question group for each learning objective. So for this first learning objective, let's say that students need to show me that they can add. So this is my new question group, and I want students to do, let's say, 5 questions about adding. And so now what I need to do is add questions. So if I just create this group now, Canvas is going to give me a warning. You don't have enough questions in this group. We need to make sure to add at least 5 questions to this group, or your scoring is going to get messed up and you're not going to, it's hard to tell why we get this. We get help tickets about this sometimes. So let's say I already have my adding questions in a question bank. So I'm going to click this link to a question bank, and I see I have my adding question bank all ready to go. And I'm going to click select bank, and then it tells me questions will be pulled from the bank adding. So I'm going to create the group, and you'll see that it's all set. This group is ready to go. I have no warnings or anything. Now I'm going to show you, let's say you don't have a quiz bank ready to go and you just want to add your questions now. So let's say I need a new question group about subtracting. So I'm just going to type subtracting, and again I want Canvas to give the students 5 questions, 1 point per question, and then I'll just click create group. Now here I get that warning. This question group is set to pick more questions than are available. I haven't added any questions to this group now. So unfortunately, Canvas will let you publish your quiz just like this, and then your points are going to be off. So basically, students might get all 5 of these questions right, but then they don't get an opportunity to answer any of these questions. Canvas is still going to think the quiz is worth 10 points because there's supposed to be 10 questions here worth 1 point each. So if you see this warning, don't ignore it. Canvas will let you publish, but you need to go ahead and make sure you're adding at least as many questions as you told it you want it to pull. So I'm going to go ahead and click add question. And let's say my first one is 1 minus 1. And I'm going to put the correct answer in here, and then some distractors. And then I'm going to update question. And you see now it's got that 1 question in this group. I still have this warning. I'm going to pause the recording so that you don't have to watch me create all these questions, and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back, and I finished adding 10 questions to my bank. And I just wanted to give you a quick tip. So you can see I've added this question and I've added all these questions above. So there's 10 questions here, but something that Canvas doesn't do is number your questions. So you can see if you don't change the name of your question, you kind of have to sit here and count. Like you want to have 10 questions, but every time you're like, oh, have I done 10 yet? You have to go back up and count. So you are allowed to name your questions though. So like I like to number my questions. So this is question 10. and that just takes a second, and then you can easily keep track of how many questions you've added here. So now I have 5 questions from, I have 10 questions, and Canvas is going to pull 5 questions randomly for each student. So you can see I have 2 banks, one for each of my learning objectives that this exam covers. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Publish. Now, I didn't put any of my settings in. Of course, you want to go in, put your instructions, make sure all your settings are great and everything. But why don't we go in Student View and take a look? So you can see now I have 10 questions, 5 from each group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of each. So adding and subtracting, it randomly pulled. It did keep the groups in order, so it didn't completely randomize the questions. It gave me the first 5 from the first group, the next 5 from the other group. And there are a few different ways I've seen faculty use this, like to have, to make these groups work for you. So for example, let's say you want to make sure you have a huge question bank, and there's some, maybe 20% of the questions are true and false, and you want to make sure that no student gets like a lot of true and false because they're not the most substantive questions. You can kind of make a group for the more substantive questions, and then another group for the true and false questions, and kind of weight them that way so that it's only picking like 2 true and false questions for students. Then you can then give those questions a different point value. And also, if you want each student to get like 5 essay questions or whatever. So you can see there's a lot of different ways that you can use these question groups, and they are a great feature in Canvas, especially for aligning your quizzes to your learning objectives. So of course, as usual, let us know if you have any questions or need help setting this up.